So yes, we are in another game. I think kind of like Moyo style. Um, Definitely like Moyo style game for my opponent, I believe. A lot of people are trying to play Moyo style, which somewhat forces me to invade. I don't really have definitely an issue like with Moyo that. Style game for I don't really have a problem with that because I'm getting more and more used to just invading. But yeah, so definitely. A bit of a Moyo style start. I think I'm just going to start with this kind of like corner invasion to see how this goes. I can't make the three-step invasion. I will actually take this. I'm going to do this just to fix this error here. It's fine. Then invade over here. He spent a lot of moves he actually spent a lot of moves making this Moyo and letting me break it really easily. That's not a good move. I know some people will want to Hane, but this is like way, way more effective than the Hane just doing this. Also, if he does this, I can just Hane on the bottom now. Getting this out is like really great. It completely destroys his territory. Yes, he does get some influence here, obviously, but it also gives me Sente to do this. And yeah, this is actually pretty good. I'm going to just like pincer here. He did get the corner territory. This territory isn't really solidified. I don't think that was an extremely that great of a move, honestly. There's a lot of territory in the corner that he just gave up. It's not necessarily one I need to answer right now. There's definitely bigger moves. Like this is actually, I think this is probably a bigger move. Because like it doesn't, since this doesn't actually threaten this group, it doesn't really matter all that much. So I'm actually going to block this because I do think this is actually a decent size move. You don't need to do that. I'm going to fly up here because this decreases his possibility of Moyo while increasing my Moyo. And then I'm going to continue to build this Moyo, but I'm actually going to solidify my bottom territory a little bit. I actually think F11 might have been a better move, but we'll have to see about that. Because right now, like his potential for territory is much less than mine right now. That's not all that relevant. I know he wants to break the territory over here, but it really isn't all that relevant. I'm going to go ahead and try to attack him anyways. Just to see how this works out. Like, if I can get all the side territory out of this, I'm going to be doing very, very well. So, yeah. Just going to do this. I don't mind going to fight, actually. And it seems like if I can just get like this territory, I'd be fine with it too, and have him invade down there. So he's obviously going to do that. He wants to clamp down here, but I do actually think this is worth more right now. So I don't get this cut off. there's no point in doing that. I'm going to just solidify this here to get this territory. You see, like these moves, this territory that he's getting is less than that down there because I can just jump out here. Oh, that actually might not be the best move. Yeah, that's probably not the best move. I'm going to go ahead and do this anyways. This actually fixes a lot of things. Because otherwise he could have done this. I'm just going to keep pushing, obviously. He could have... And this actually causes quite a bit of trouble for him. You see, like, how I'm just... You see, like... I mean, this is not going to work for him. You see, like, how I'm, like, gaining a lot of territory just by him responding. That's definitely a bad response. I'm just going to go ahead and kill this. Like, he sacrificed a lot of points over at least, like, 20-25 points to get this in here. But by doing that, he's just not going to have enough territory. I'm going to make this move first because that's going to be fairly large. And, like, there's not much territory in here. I am just going to actually solidify this bottom right now. That's fine. I'm going to make sure this is alive. But you can see, I don't have to answer that. I'm going to just kind of like, I'm going to do this to solidify like this. I'm going to do this to solidify that up there. Oh, that's very bad for him. I probably should have just pushed. That doesn't solve that doesn't solve his problem though. That's the thing. Like I'm gonna do this, but he still has this. He might still have this problem later on. That doesn't do anything. There could be a problem down here, so I'm gonna solve this issue down here first. Like doing this solidifies all of this territory. You can kind of see like how I just chipped at his territory, and eventually I just made a lot more territory. By a huge number of points. I can just retreat. I don't need to kill everything. That's probably a better move, honestly, but at this point, I'm just going to make the safe moves. Because there's really no way he can actually... there's very little way he can actually break my territory right now, in any extent. Plus, like, I still have this clamp move. I don't know if you realize this, but that move still sort of exists. I probably won't make it, though. I don't need to answer that, really. Might as well just take some Sentes. Don't really know what else is large here. I guess this is okay. Like, these games are kind of like fast and reactive, and they basically give a sense of like, I don't know if that move actually works, but I'm going to attempt it anyways. But they will give you a sense of like who's. I think there was a move at B12 here. I'll show you that later. They will give you a sense of like which players like go sense and intuition is better than the other one, because like reflexively, like instinctively is just how like you view the game. And the thing is, like, he's trying to protect territory that's generally very hard to protect. He is definitely trying to protect territory that's generally very, very hard to protect. That's why I actually did that move, because he could have squeezed this way earlier. As you can see, like, even if I didn't solidify the bottom and didn't get this, I would still be ahead by a lot because overall black just doesn't have much territory, and that's because he actually went for territory that's actually very, very hard to solidify. I'm not going to answer that. That's not that big. I'm actually going to connect this. You can keep doing that. I'm actually going to connect this because there is this peep down here that I want to avoid. That's not very big, so I'm going to just take some sentes here. Because these sentes are way, way bigger. This is actually decent, though. I don't think he needs to answer that, but okay, if he does, he does. Just gonna do some of these moves that could actually be sente and do a couple of these moves. Just make the territory more solidified. Like, I'm definitely taking a lot in the closing moves. Definitely taking a whole lot in the closing moves. That's actually fairly large. So is this. Going to, yeah, just do this first. Make sure that this does actually have two eyes, which I've successfully done. You did get quite a few advantages there, but this is okay. Mainly because I'm ahead by so much that I'm just solidifying like I'm just solidifying the win right now. Not going to do that because then he can come down. I'm going to take this. Like SDKs, like mid SDK players really do need to work on their end game. You're losing like a lot of points on the end game. There's a double Atari here. I do have to fix this. It's cool. Gote, don't forget about that. That doesn't need to be fixed, but just squeeze this. Even if I lost this group, I might still win. I'm not going to risk that, obviously, but because I have like so much territory over here. Just going to go straight down on this.
Pass. Remove the dead stones.
Yeah,
You
probably
have
still.
won.
So obviously that was a one-sided game, but the thing is, like, it was like little, like he lost the game little by little. The starting was actually perfectly fine. He didn't actually lose too much in terms of starting, so the starting was fine. This is fine. I'm going to. I generally don't favor that. If I would definitely favor this. White doesn't really have any way to expand. Like this is not very like I favor this kind of start way over the start that actually happened for white. Like so, I personally think like if white invades here, you either pincer or you just go under. I don't like this particular response. Definitely don't really like that one. I feel like you should still do this and then just let white do this because this is not as comfortable as a 3-space extend. So pincering here, letting me go down this way is definitely not good for you. Extend and then go here. Let me get this. That's going to be Sente, obviously. And then let me invade here. Because I'm basically just trying to break up your Moyo at this point that you spent a lot of stones on. That's, I don't know, like here, like if you're going to pincer, I would probably go for the low one. I would probably, like I might just do something like I might well I probably wouldn't do that. Yeah, I would probably just go for the low pincer honestly rather than the high pincer. I think that's just a little bit better. Not that this is devastating or anything, but I think that's a wrong move. I don't want to do this because this doesn't actually favor white. Um, I don't know how that actually turns out, so I didn't want to do that. So I just went ahead and took the corner here. Obviously, you can't do that right now because I have this. But, I'm going to go ahead and take the corner. He comes down. I'm going to do this first, and then he's going to do this. Now, some of you might be wondering, what my answer is if he does this. I wouldn't do this because I think black actually wins that. I would just do this. He doesn't really have anything he can't actually do anything if I just do that. So I had that answer planned out. The invasion here, fine. Like between these exchanges, because I got such a big group here to actually live, and he didn't get too much outer influence, I'm already up by about 10 points at this point. I'm going to pincer, he goes up, I'm going to jump out, he's going to jump out, and then I'm going to come down here and attack this stone. Like, I want to secure some territory for this group, because he's not really getting too much out here. He does that, and that gives me the territory secure, which is fine for me. I just want to kind of settle this group. Then he does that. That I don't have to answer. You got to think about like how you have to, before you do something like this, you have to realize that white doesn't have to answer that because you're not threatening his group. And you actually have to like look at like, is there anything bigger than this on the board? And the answer is obviously yes. This is going to be significantly bigger, as is like something like this. So when he does this, I'm going to go ahead and do this. That's actually pretty big on the close off. You do not need to answer this. I can't threaten you here without another move. So at this point, if you want to invade, you would definitely do something like this, which would actually be pretty hard for white to answer. I would probably pincer this way and then do this. But answering this move basically gives me this particular move, and you definitely didn't need to answer here because there's really not much white can actually do. Yeah, like that's the most I can do. There's just not as much threat there. So answering these two gives me a huge advantage. And of course, I'm going to do something like this just to solidify this territory. It might actually look good to do something like this, but remember this invasion still exists, and it's very hard to make a lot of territory when that invasion actually exists. It's actually a lot like what I've learned through the years is that like it's very hard to make a lot of territory in the middle by doing this if this invasion still exists. So this move is going to be generally better than this move. That's just a strange invasion. I'm going to collapse on top. I think the AI probably would want me to do this, and that's fine because that's actually a lot of territory down there. So I try to do that. Then I'm going to try to I'm basically just going to try to eat this stone. And him giving me this stone is not very good. Because at this point, though, like if you're a black, you would definitely play this. Take the advantage, because what you really did is you traded this stone for these two stones up here, and you need to make use of these two stones up here. What's the best use of those two stones? Well, my stone is kind of cut off. The best use of those two stones is definitely to invade this and basically try to get this territory here. You have to do that. Otherwise, you're like trading really for nothing. Letting me get that is very bad because yes, I'm like when I'm making this move, I'm basically saying like, is it better for me to make this move or is it better for me to actually make this move? My gut instinct tells me that connecting this down here and getting this territory is going to be bigger than connecting this territory here. So if I was black right now, I would definitely go for this. But if you're gonna do this and then let me just like solidify like this territory as well, you're just not gonna have enough territory. Because like I know you're trying to get this in the middle, but think about it this way. Even if somehow you get all this territory here and I just do something like this, even if you get all of this here and I get something like this, white is still winning at this point. Like this territory, even if you get all of it, is not as big as what you just gave up plus this stone. So like this is a losing strategy right now. You didn't actually like destroy enough of my territory. This is a losing strategy right now because you didn't destroy enough of my territory, and you're trying to make a territory that you're just never really going to be able to solidify. So me jumping in here, so there is actually like this move. This is what I was actually afraid of because I have to do this, and then you can actually do this. And at this point, I would probably just give up on this stone. I might do this first, and then like just jump this way and force you to do this. That's probably what I would have done because doing this also kind of like solidifies capturing this stone as well. So I would have probably just done this, and that would have been a much, much better result for black. So remember, like look for like the advantages and the cuts because when you do this and I basically do this, that basically solves all my cutting issues. So like when I do this, you have to realize that, hey, look, there's a cutting issue here if I just do this. And that can actually get you a lot of points. I would probably just do something like this, sacrifice the stuff in here and do a couple of forcing moves. That's probably what I would do because like by my account, like your territory here is not going to be enough to win against my territory here. And plus I get Sente as well. So that's kind of like what I would actually do as white. So, but like doing this actually automatically solves it because now if you do this, now if you do this, I can just go this way. So that technically solves that issue. And that's why that's such a big swap. I'm going to go ahead and push and then come down here. This is a very, very bad exchange. I feel like black should just do this and then just do this. Let white do this and break this territory because giving up this is like way too much. Because like you doing this and trying to protect this territory, letting me come down here, like this is giving up like a lot of points, and this amount of points is going to be much more territory than you actually gain here. Then I'm going to do that first. I'm going to like capture all this. And then like the rest of the ending moves is not really all that relevant. Obviously you can't do that because of the double Atari here. But I think like what this game really comes down to is a bunch of intuitive mistakes, like a bunch of like reflection mistakes. Like, oh, if I like basically like I really want to make the center territory, and I'm going to sacrifice this stone in here to make this territory, and I'm also going to sacrifice this in here to make this territory. Well, like this stone in here plus this in here plus the territory that you gave me on the bottom is like 50, 60 more points than what you're actually going to get in here. So that's why that doesn't work. Like, and I've actually played a lot of games like this. This is actually how I usually win against SDK players, by the way. This is legitimately how I usually win against SDK players, is that like they make really, they try to like, they focus on like a really spot of territory, and then they end up sacrificing like 30, 40, 50 points more than what they actually gain in that territory. So like really bad trades and counterplays is generally how I win against SDK players. And that's like a problem that I see with like all SDK players. So that's this game. I am going to play another one today. So I'm going to create a game. Anyone 6 to 12Q can actually accept my challenge. So if you actually want to accept my challenge, go ahead. I am going to be waiting for another game for about 10 minutes. If I don't get if no one accepts within 10 minutes, I'm probably going to leave. So someone please accept my challenge if you would like to play a teaching game. I know there's another stream going on right now, and it's pretty popular. That's probably why I don't have as many people in the stream. But please accept my challenge if you want kind of a teaching game and kind of review. Or if you just want to ask me any questions, go ahead. I can answer them right now since I'm not playing. Wait until about 3:15 for a game, and if no one comes, I'm probably going to leave, but definitely open for a game in the next 10 minutes. Usually enough time. It's usually enough time to give people time to accept. There is a title game going on. That's probably why there's not as many people interested right now. Like a lot of the people that usually watch on. Started. Okay, there we go. There we go. We have a game. I think it's the same. Might be the same person. We'll see. Let me actually check my profile. Oh, no, it's not. All right, another game. Nice, nice. Some of you have asked me about playing handicap games. I might actually do that sometime in the future. I don't necessarily like playing handicap games. Yeah, go ahead and close the YT stream. Because, like, getting tips while you're playing kind of, like, defeats the purpose of the game. Because then sometimes I feel like I'm playing against myself, which is kind of strange. Very, very strange feeling to actually feel like you're playing against yourself. Standardized, very standardized start. I don't think I actually like this one all that much. One of the things that one of the problems that I see, like a lot of players. Well, I mean, I don't think you have to do that right now. I think that's fine though. I'm gonna go ahead and do this. The thing is, like, if I were to Atari this, I wouldn't Atari this way. I would Atari this way. That's actually quite a big difference. Which way you actually Atari? I'm thinking about doing this, but I don't really want to. There's limited potential over here, so I think I'm going to high pincer. I was thinking about just doing C5 as well. Tiger's Mouth is almost always the best move that way. Probably should have just left this and played over here now that I think about it. Make a little bit of territory here. Maybe I should have just done K4 instead. Just going to do this. That's a decent amount of territory that I got on the side. He's going to go pincer that. I probably would have high pincered. Yeah, I definitely would have high pincered. I do think the best move is this, though. Might be best just to do this. Because I don't really feel like running this stone. If I make this territory, like, small enough for him, like, I can just give up this territory because it's really not all that much. There's still problems with this territory in here, by the ways. But you can see I've gotten this side, so I'm just going to do this right now. This extension is still a thing down here. And that would make his territory here very small. Like, one of the things you got to realize is like sometimes it's okay to give up like sometimes it's actually okay to give up like I'm just gonna play this. Sometimes it's actually okay to give up like certain territory. Huh. I probably played that wrong. Let's do this. Yeah, I played that wrong. That was actually a pretty large goof. That's probably a pretty large mistake by me. Yeah, I'm just going to leave it as it is, and I'm going to play down here, I believe. Yeah, I'm just going to leave that as it is. Probably, yeah, that's probably the right way to pincer. Building up this Moyo is fine. I always do this first. And then I'm going to connect. Because that's always going to be like... Yeah. I think forcing here is okay. I think I'm just going to let him play the... He's trying to make... He's actually making pretty good use of this out here. That doesn't make any sense. That really doesn't make any sense. If you're going to do this already, you would definitely Hane this. I mean, I sort of understand this, but I sort of don't at the same time. Do I do this? I don't know. I mean, I can threaten down here first, but I don't want him to Hane that way. This is actually turning out to be fairly large. I think I have to do this. It is actually turning out to be a pretty big piece of territory. He's giving up a lot to actually get it. He is actually giving... I mean, this move still exists. That's probably a bad move on me. That actually solidified his corner. That actually did solidify his corner. Yeah, I'm not making... Really not making good moves right now. I did get the bottom territory, but he did get a lot of territory in here. That's the thing. Started from like my screw up here. This is actually a pretty good use. He actually did a pretty good use of his potential here. So yeah, I need to make sure that this isn't under threat anymore. I don't think I necessarily need to answer this. I'm not going to answer that. I'm just going to go ahead and do this. These two are worth a lot, but not as much as this down here. And if I do this, he does have to answer this first, otherwise he's dead. So like I actually got a lot down there. I'm not going to answer that. That doesn't need to be answered. I think you should just like block that. This allows me to do this right now. Yeah, you can see like that territory is actually coming down there. I can't do this because he does have the squeeze here. I'm going to do these moves first because these are actually fairly large. And he has to answer. I'm just shrinking his bottom territory a little bit. That's not a good move. Never mind. It's not. That's just not worth very much. It's my bad. That is my bad. That was stupid. Do I answer that? Let's see if I actually have to answer that. I do have like the option to. I think I'm just gonna fly because I feel like That's a dangerous response by me, but I think there's an option for me to do this. I definitely think there's an option for me to like not respond to that right now. Because this is worth a lot. That was actually worth a lot. I don't think I have to answer that either. That's not worth very many points. I think I do have to connect this. That's not worth very many points, like I said. Stuff like this you just want to play first. It doesn't do anything right now, but you do kind of want to play it first. Just to leave in there, I'm going to close this off. It's not that many points. Just like destroy the thing in here, it's fine. It's the right play. I do have to watch out though. So go ahead and do this, I guess. I can't let that last liberty be filled. Oh, I can't do that. Never mind. That's just a bad move by me. That is actually just a bad move by me. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do this. That's pretty big, because I could have done that, I guess. Tari. That's not bad. It solves a couple of my issues, so that's why I'm willing to do that. And it's also Sente. This is actually pretty big. I'm going to go ahead and block the corner. That's decent. This is not Sente, so it's really not something you should actually be doing now. Okay. Fair. These 3 stones are worth more than those 3. That's a fair move. I should have done this first, actually. It's a fair move. I can't actually do that. And do this. I'm gonna have to do that. I have to take it. Pretty good move. Okay, that's fair. Can't do that. I'm going to do this. It's a couple of points here and there. Not too many though. This one. I think that's all the points there is. This one was actually quite a bit closer than I had originally planned for it. But I still think I'm solidly ahead, so...
Pass.
Because, like, these two...
Remove the dead stones.
I said this one is, I'm about 15 points ahead.
You have won.
So this one was actually played pretty nicely. This one was actually played really nicely. This one was actually played pretty nicely, but I did make a lot of mistakes like in this area. But in the end, like, you know, concentrating on this middle territory and letting me get the two sides is going to get me to win, because the sides are going to be worth more unless you can get a lot in the middle. So essentially, this is the basic Joseki here. Doing this, I think I should have just gone for this, honestly. Definitely should have just gone for that. Or possibly even this. Should have just taken the corner, but pincer, do this. Come up here. What we're doing here is I'm essentially just trading over here for this territory, which is fine. Pincer this. See, I'm actually okay with giving up this stone because I can just reduce the amount of territory he actually has over there. Now, this, honestly, like, this going under right now isn't a good move. I probably should have just jumped up or possibly even played something like this. But I just wanted to solidify my own territory over there. That's not generally a good move. This is actually okay for me because I got the Sente. Although he does get a lot of influence out here. At this point, the game's still pretty even. This is not good for white. Because you can see, like, white doesn't have much potential over here to get territory, but black has way more potential up here to get territory. So this is actually not good for white. I think, like, he should have done this. This is a better move in this regards. Of course, I'm going to do that. He's going to connect, and then I'm going to force over here. I feel like you just probably counterpincer this. You either counterpincer this or you... I don't exactly know what you would do. I'd probably counterpincer it. Doing this, letting me get on the bottom. See, this doesn't really make any sense. Here you pretty much have to Hane. Like, that's just covering over your top. And this increases like the middle territory. This increases your potential middle territory by a lot. Plus, it kind of like screws me over here. I basically have to go on the bottom, and you can see here that like if you're actually after the middle territory, like you can essentially just make it this way. So because letting me actually come out here basically destroys some of your potential here, and then like that. I don't really understand that. I'm just going to fix my problems. That's fine. This is a bad move by me, but it's not horrible. I'm going to crawl out first because, like, you know, like if you didn't actually make this move, like you'd be 2 lines over and you'd have a lot more territory here. So, like, basically, like letting me get on the bottom, giving me a lot of territory while solidifying this. That's actually not bad for white at all because this is a lot of territory down here, and it kind of like cancels out the territory you're trying to get here. But at this point, the game is still pretty even. Then I'm going to start getting small leads here. I'm going to like do this because this particular move lessens out your territory even more. Obviously, like here, I don't know. I might just go with this move because I don't know if this would actually work right now. And there's no way for me to actually kill you, so I might actually just go with that move right there. Because if I do this, that's a pretty big win for black. It's very hard for me to separate these stones. So, like, giving me a nod and doing this costs black a lot of points. Because, like I said, I'm just, like, reducing your territory here to where, like, my sides are much greater than your middle. That's actually where this game was won. Like, eventually, like, my sides just became a lot greater than his middle. I'm going to do this first. That's going to be automatic block. I'm going to block here. And then essentially like my goal, like right here, what I'm thinking is like, okay, I probably can't kill this group because I have a problem here as well. So if I can actually get this stone and this bottom territory, I can easily just solidify the game because like it doesn't like what he has in here is not going to be enough if he gives up this thing. So I'm going to do this first. If you're going to answer this, though, you would definitely just retreat. I don't think I can do anything if you do this. Because, I mean, this is still... I don't think this... I personally just don't think this is quite killable. I mean, I can't do anything if you do that. I guess I could do this. Yeah, I guess there is some trouble there. But the thing is, like, if I do this, you could just retreat as well. You don't have to answer me that way. So, white really can't do anything, and this is a lot better than giving up your bottom. So basically like doing this basically gives up your bottom. Like doing this essentially gives up your bottom, and like that's a huge loss because I just converted your territory into my territory. That's unnecessary. Right now, I mean, like, yes, this is a big move later, but right now it's unnecessary. Like, a lot of other moves are just going to be bigger. That's not going to be a good response. I mean, like, I guess it's the best one. This is a better response. This is actually a much better response. So he does that. It lets me do that. Lets me get, like, a couple of centes here. And then, like, my closing moves are just going to pull me more ahead. That's a bad move by me. There's no reason for me to do this. I could always just do this later. There's no reason actually for me to do that. Actually, I can't because you have this here. So I guess I was just kind of fixing it, but this is kind of a wasteful move by me. That's not good. I'm going to go down here. That's good. I have to answer. This is not good because like this is not good because I'm thinking that if I fly in here first and you do this, you can't kill this group because I actually can do this and just like, you know, connect back. So I'm going to do this first, get the Sente here, and then do this. So like that decreased him by about 8 or 9, like 6 or 7 points at least. This is also not like a great move. That's also not. See, like this is, before you do something like this, you have to calculate how many points this is actually worth. This is maybe worth 4 or 5 points. And so I'm going to just play this first, because this is going to be worth more and it's Sente. You have to spend 2 moves. So like you spent another move getting those 2 points. And then like I'm going to do that first just for that. And then I'm going to block. So the rest of this, like my ending moves were just a bit better, so that's why I ended up winning by a little bit more. But at this point, the game was already kind of decided. So essentially, like losing this stone down here cost him the win, and basically like other moves, like where this game was really started turning in my favor was actually pretty late. Is like it's really the exchange of this move and this move that really turned in my favor, because you just put an extra stone down here, and I just was able to reduce your territory. And then like the rest of this threatening, just like how to use like threatening attacks to actually gain a little bit of territory to get you ahead. So that's where this game was actually decided. That's going to be the stream for today. Like and subscribe, hit the bell notifications button, give me a like, and I will see you guys later.